Hey guys, thanks for watching my channel today, Making It Work. I'm Jimmy if you haven't been here before. I'm going to make a video today about my 5 tools I couldn't do my job without most days. Of course, there's always a variable every day, but when we do this job for a living, you know what I'm talking about. But these 5 tools are basically what makes it happen for me on a day-to-day basis. Let's get right into the video. Okay guys, it's basically 5 tools that I don't think I could live without on a daily basis. A few of them are Snap-on, but not only because they're Snap-on brand, but it could be any other brand. It doesn't have to be Snap-on. I just happen to have Snap-on stuff up here in my top 5 list. But every day I'm going to need a flashlight. It doesn't matter if it's a Snap-on or not, like I said, but flashlight's a must. There's a lot of things that you can't do without a flashlight. You're just not going to see what you're working on up close. It's a matter of being under a dashboard, being underneath the vehicle, trying to look up in a little crack or crevice, trying to find stuff. You can't do anything without that flashlight. That's going to be my 5th. My 4th is going to be a power screw gun, whether it's an impact or an electric ratchet. This is another tool that I'm constantly using, whether it's in a wheel well. I even put adapters on it to take spark plug sockets out once I break them loose with the ratchet. Then this tool does the rest of the work for me, so I can save my pickle juicers and not have to make my arthritis any worse than it is. I use this tool, I mean, my goodness, probably 20-30 times a day at least. Doesn't really matter what I'm working on, it always ends up coming out. Hose clamps, air inlet clamps, taking a headlight housing out of a car, whatever it may be, I'm using this tool. The 3rd one out of my top 5 tools is going to be a voltmeter. Most of what I do on a daily basis is drivability, electrical, whether it's a Snap-on voltmeter or a Fluke voltmeter or any others. This is probably made by Fluke for Snap-on, I would guess, but great tool to have whether you're checking fuses. If you got a scanner that's not lighting up when you plug it in your OBD2 connector or OBD1 connector, you can check for power and ground in your OBD2 connector. You know, something as simple as a bad grounds voltage drop. You guys know to check for voltage drop, you go across on the ground side or the power side of a circuit. You'll test from one side of the ground to the other side of the ground, and if the meter reads voltage, that means you have voltage loss in the circuit, right? So that's what the voltmeter is going to come in super handy for all those kinds of things. Voltage drop, powers and grounds. Just checking to see if a fuse is live at all. I opted for the color screen on this one. It's a little bit more money. It just makes it a little bit easier for me to see what's going on in my meter, having a colored screen. There you go. I think it's a little easier to have the colored screen. It's not an absolute necessity. There's less expensive voltmeters that'll do the job, but I don't think I could go most days without my voltmeter. 4th tool out of my top 5, needle nose pliers, and these are gear wrench needle nose. They're double pinned so that they have way more leverage, and the amount of travel for your hand is just very slight on one end, and you get a good amount of travel on the other end compared to regular pliers. They also seem to have far more leverage than a regular pair of needle nose pliers would. I bought these in a set. One is straight and the other is a bent end. Comes in super handy for hose clamps and pulling small hoses and vacuum hoses, even pinching off a vacuum hose just to make sure that there's no leak or to stop a leak or something like that. Super handy tool. I couldn't go most days without that tool. And my number 1 for my top 5 is going to be a scanner. This is my Launch Torque. Great little scanner. It's not the only option, obviously, but some kind of scanner is a must on a daily basis. You can't check air conditioning on most cars without looking at scan tool data. You can't check, obviously you got to check engine light, an ABS light on, a TPMS light on. Some cars the wipers don't work. You may have to, if it's a fairly modern car, there could be another reason that the wipers aren't working. So the first thing you're going to do is pull codes on 90% of these new cars before you do anything. Most AC checks, if it's on a 2015 or newer, I'd probably put my scanner on it before anything. I have some other scanners too. That's not the launch torque. I have my snap-on modus. If you've seen my toolbox videos, you've seen my snap-on modus. But I'll show you another one of my scanners that I really like. Another one of my scanners that I like is this BlueDriver. See if it'll light up for you. There you go. BlueDriver. Great little scan tool. I'll show you how this thing works. Go in the phone. Use your BlueDriver app. You can check for codes. Do a lot of things with this. You can do a lot of resets for oil changes. You can clear codes, check codes. You can get into mode 6 data. Obviously, and it does auto VIN. It'll read your VIN and put the vehicle for you. I think it was $99 on Amazon for this BlueDriver scanner. This is a handy little tool, especially if you're someone who, if you're not working professionally. This expensive scanner, it was about $1,500, which is actually cheap in this industry. But if you can't swing the money for a scanner like that, then this little BlueDriver tool is highly recommended. You pair it to your phone, plug this into the car, and it's going to give you all kinds of information. Information that most people who aren't in this business, and maybe even some who are in this business, they're going to be so much information and not even really sure how to process it. For example, if you have a car that won't start, you might have a code for a coolant temperature sensor. With this tool, you'll be able to read data and see that your coolant temperature sensor is at 266 degrees and thinks the engine's overheated, or a throttle position sensor that's at wide open throttle, so it cuts off the fuel injectors, thinking you're in flood mode, pushing the gas all the way to the floor. This little $99 scanner can help you see that kind of stuff. And they even have a thing where you go on their website and they will take you through your diagnostic strategy to some degree and help you out a little bit. But so that's it, guys. These are my 5 tools. Some kind of scanner, needle nose pliers, any brand voltmeter, doesn't have to be Snap-on, some kind of powered driver for all your screws and small nuts and stuff like that, and a flashlight. Basically, without those 5 tools, that's just breaking the surface to do the job that a mechanic has to do every day. But I appreciate you guys watching this video. Oh man, I hope that's not the police out front. What the heck happened? Let's check into that. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna have to cut this video short.